This is what democracy looks like.
Without immigration, where would the United States be? Immigration has been the foundation of the United States since the colonial period. America was a sanctuary with vast and economic religious opportunities. When immigration became popular, the United States started to accept immigrants to its borders after setting some regulations. But from then on, immigration was a part of America's growing history. But how has immigration evolved? Immigration to the United States started out as a chance for those migrating to obtain a life without persecution against discriminatory factors. But there are cases of forced migration, especially during the 17th to the 19th century, from Americans forcefully bringing African American slaves to the States. After immigrating to America became popular, there were many efforts made to stop certain races from coming to the States, like the Chinese Exclusion Act, the 1917 Immigration Act, the Emergency Quota Act, and the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952. To control these increasing numbers of immigration, the United States increased the immigration caps in 1990 to 700,000 annually. With this new annual cap, around 1.7 million Mexican immigrants came to the U.S. But in the end, our nation is built on people who migrated to the United States with their children. The United States is now more diverse than ever, but with crisis happening across the globe, the United States officials are making more restrictions based on people's origins. The most recent addition to historical exclusions is the Executive Order 13780, which is described as a limitation on travel to the U.S. for 7 different countries.
And this is the protection of the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States. We all know what that means.
The main question is, why does the United States need immigration? Immigration promotes new businesses, more employment for Americans, an increasing chance at innovative technology, and an income boost for Americans. Along with an increase of money, deportation promotes a decrease in taxes as far as Social Security and Medicare go. Social Security and Medicare mainly depend on the income of taxes, and with increasing age dependency ratio, the working class will see an increase in taxes to fund those programs. Some will say that immigrants will be less educated and will work for lower wages than the rest of the American population, thus resulting in less money being made by taxes. But this will only be temporary. Although the first-generation immigrants work unskilled jobs and get little wages, their children are getting degrees and good jobs. The National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine published a study that was conducted from 1994 to 2013 about the net fiscal impact second-generation adults of immigrants. The second generation contributes more to taxes than their parents because of their elevated education and their high salaries. What legislation can we pass to promote immigration? To start, we are a nation of laws. Our country is built on laws that we maintain today. Passing new laws and approving new bills will only get it more complicated. Since our country is built on descendants, the important legislation passed should be followed. For example, the Constitution. It's a legal document written and passed by those who were raised in a country built by the immigrant ancestors. Therefore, the laws created by the descendants should be followed because they understand the life of migrating to a new country. Now, people should know that the lens of our founding fathers is completely different than the lens that people use today. As Woodrow Wilson recognized that the relationship between the government and the states cannot be settled by one generation because it's a question of growth, and every successive stage of our political and economic development gives a new aspect and makes it a new question. The same thought can be applied to the lens that people use to look at immigration. It shouldn't be the same as when the country was beginning to be delegated by immigrants. The Constitution gives us, we the people, the chance to make changes that are needed to fit the lens of the certain time period. Unfortunately, our country currently is not using the given tools correctly.
Show you some of the details of the wall. This is going to be close to 500 miles by the time we finish. Those are the areas that are most important. After we're completed that should be done pretty close to next year. It'll be over 400 miles, and we think we can get it close to 500 miles by the end of next year, depending on certain terrain conditions.
What should you take away from this? As a nation, we should not be diverse as we are. My history teacher left me with something that I'll always remember, and that is, our country should be homogeneous, and those living in the U.S. should get to experience the wisdom of other cultures. We should get the day-to-day experience that diversity brings.